I think about this story. So I grew up in Fairfax County, and it was in the 60s. My parents had a little house in a town called Vienna, and I
Very
think they
affluent
paid
area.
like maybe $17,000 for this house.
Mm-hmm.
That same house today is like 1.5 million, 1.9
Yeah. You can
million.
drive by it. It's
And that's
literally.
in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's called appreciation of an asset. Now imagine if they had bought one little house for each one of us. If they were in a position to where each kid got a little
Or
house.
imagine if they were educated well enough, or they sought to educate themselves enough to say, we're going to take that one house, put it in a trust. It's never to be sold. It certainly can be accessed for, equity.
Right.
And but it has to be maintained, because you don't want to run it into the ground. You have to put certain structures and parameters in place. But that one house that she's mentioning, and $1 million in appreciation in a lifetime. Of course, we're in our 60s. So the thing is, even if you say that's 50 years, okay, or you lived in the house too, so let's say it's 40 years because y'all lived there and you had use of it. In a 40-year span, that's $1 million. Now, if the $1 million is processed, handled, and dealt with properly over the course of even all these years, it could have pulled out and bought more property. So you got to remember, the equity is not taxed. So to take out $100,000 30 years ago and buy another little house, now 30 years later, that one's worth $1 million. So you see, there's a lot
see how
to it.
that's building?
It's crazy. So my question is, okay, that's cool, but so, like, property and everything has gone up so much. Is that still true? And if that is, where do you buy today? Like we're in 2025. Like what cities are the best places to invest? What property types are the best places to invest? How can we still get that big of a return even today?
That's a very good question.
Before I'll let you answer part of that, but I do
Okay.
have to address this. The answer is yes. It was because if you go all the way back to the 60s, 70s, even if 20, go back as far as you want. Real estate purchase. Go back to, we purchased a house 2 months ago. It was built in 1893.
That's a while ago.
1893. So I'm going to use that to fact. So purchased in 1893. Now, it was not taken care of particularly well necessarily. So the way that we acquired this property is because the family that had owned it for 70 years, over 2 generations, with the lesson that we just explained, did not do something you heard me say earlier, which is you have to take care of it. There's a responsibility to care for the asset because the asset cares for you. Okay? So you can't just get it and take the money. If it needs a new roof in 30 years, guess what you do? You put a roof on it. If it needs a paint job, guess what you do? You paint it. If it needs new windows, guess what you do? You put new windows in. But here's the other beautiful thing. That's all tax deductible. It's an investment. So it's not even like you putting a new roof on doesn't still benefit you in some way to upkeep this property that you have someone else paying the mortgage for and or paying you rent or you're getting passive income off of. So this thing just does in so many different ways. But the answer would be yes. Even if you bought a property today for $300,000, let's say, as an average price for a place, and a lot of people would say, wow, that's expensive. I would say to you, I would stake a large amount of money on, if I come back 25 years from now, that house is not going to be worth 300. It's likely not going to be worth 400. I would even venture to say in 25 years from now, that house would be worth more than 500 to 600. Could be double. Now, some places maybe it doesn't go. Let's say it didn't double. But do you think getting that on a property that you did not pay the mortgage for,
True.
it's still not worth, let's say it was 100,000 20 years from now. You made money, you got tax deduction, you got depreciation, you got all these other things, and you still appreciate it in value. So yes, I would say it would still be worth and absolutely it would still go up. Some areas more than others.
Yeah.
And some areas could potentially triple or quadruple. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's so many ways to buy.
We have properties in our lifetime that we've purchased for $67,000, and it's worth over $600,000 now. We've had properties that we purchased for $15,000. Well, the cheapest.
How about 2,400?
2,400. Cheapest property we ever purchased was 2,700.
20 something like that. Yeah.
27 after the collapse. We were buying properties for pennies on the dollar after the market. After that.
Where, like in 20,
That was in Georgia. We
It was like 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Okay.
2,700. I think it's the cheapest.
I didn't even know you could buy property that cheap.
Yeah. Actually bought dirt with a house on it.
We bought it from like Yahoo or Craigslist or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there are properties every. I think what it starts with, you have to change the question that you're asking.
Yeah.
You have to say, where is the property?
Yeah.
There's property out there. Where is it?
yeah.
I'm going to find it. When you start to say, how,
It's like being
there's
a
no way to
treasure hunter.
find it, you shut down your
Yeah.
you shut down your mind
Yeah.
to even the possibility that there's houses out there. People have been investing in real estate since the beginning of houses being built.
Since there was dirt.
You will always
Since there-
find a deal, and it would probably more than likely be an off-market deal. We love off-market deals. That's our sweet spot. It's not listed. Nobody even knows about it. Usually when it's listed, everybody's running after it, and you have competition. Then you get the multiple offers and all this. And if you're not really seasoned in the real estate investing space, that may not be where you want to play. But you want to be smart, kind of who moved my cheese kind of thing, if you've ever read that book. If everybody's running over here, I want to run over here. And you drive through your neighborhood. This is a tip for you. You drive through your neighborhood or neighborhood down the street or wherever you want to invest. We say start small, start local, because you want to be able to maintain it and keep your eye on it.
When you've not done anything.
So you see that property, looks like it hasn't been maintained very well. It may even be vacant. Or it may be an elderly person that's living by themselves, and they may be moving out to go live with family or whatever. Give them a call. Hey, are you ever considering, or have you ever considered selling your property? That might be a deal that you could have where no one even knows you're working on that deal, and you come up with some like owner financing with it or whatever, where you don't have to come up with very much money.
We
and
have,
before you know
stories,
it,
guys.
you
We
got
can
your
tell
first
you-
property.
We can tell you story, and not that it's and this isn't even exclusive to us. It's just it is because of probably the kind of people we are. We're very inquisitive.
Yeah.
Jen jokes sometimes that when I'm driving, it's like my neck is on a swivel because I see everything. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking. The house I just mentioned to you for the built in 1890. I'm driving along, on my way to another job to do something, and of course this property constantly catches my eye. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm driving by. I'm looking at it, and then one day I drive by it, and the Lord's like, get it. I'm literally like, get the house. I'm like, it's like, because this is what we do. I mean, we get houses that aren't nobody. It didn't have a for sale sign on it. It was not for sale. So what did we do? The great investigator. We hunted down the owner. Found him. Pittsburgh is where he was. Found him. She got me the number. I called him. I said, hey. Told him who I was. Told him what I did. Told him I saw your house. I noticed it looks like it's kind of in a condition where it needs some repair. I said, that's really what I do. I said, do you have any interest in selling it? Well, coincidentally, we were talking about it. Well, great. I'd love to buy it.
Found a lot of properties
So,
like that.
Just like that.
So it's not necessarily like a city you should be looking in. It's everywhere you should be looking.
Yeah.
When you're more seasoned.
Wh-
In the
wh-
beginning,
well,
as a
that's
new
part of- yeah, that's
investor,
part of your
stay
coaching.
close.
When we came into the area that we're in now, where we are now, and I know y'all probably thinking I'm just telling on exactly what I do. I drove down the street. I immediately saw an elderly guy in the yard out there raking leaves. And I'm thinking to myself, I like this neighborhood. I'm also thinking if
very
I didn't
nice.
have this appointment, I'd probably stop and talk to him. Because, see, we don't have a problem with that. And even if I don't get anything to buy, okay, he might remember me, and I will say, here's my phone number, sir. If you ever decide, I love this neighborhood, I love this area, we would love to own property here, I'd love to move here, I will make it seamless for you. We will do everything. We will close fast. You will have your cash. You can do whatever it is you want to do. That's what we do. We just and I can tell you over and over, in the same area where she's telling you that they lived as a kid, in Vienna, Virginia, which is, like I said, most people know the area is right outside of Washington, D.C. Exact same story. Now, we're living there at the time, and I'm building houses. We drive by one day. I think you were in the car with me. And we drive by a house, another one of those houses that I'm always looking at, because I'm always looking at houses. And there's this elderly guy on a ladder.
Oh, yeah, this is a funny
scraping
story.
and painting the windows. Now, the first thing I'm thinking is, dude, you should not be on that ladder. Because, I mean, you know,
Right.
I'm in this business. This is why you shouldn't be on the ladder. Not up there, not like that, nobody holding it, and you're up there scraping windows. We went down the street, came back. Turned around, pulled into the yard, went right up and introduced myself and started talking to him. We wound up going to their house having dinner, got to know him and his wife. Bottom line is he sold us the house. Not only did he sell it to us, he financed it for us.
He did. Yep.
Purchased the house from him. And that house that I don't remember, maybe we paid $170 for it. That house we sold not even 10 years later for triple what we bought it for. So we have story like that after story after story. There's houses that we purchased that right now, including houses that we own, that have already tripled in value. So we've got equity. Then we have houses. We'll take equity out. We'll buy more houses. So you build to that. It's part of your strategy.
Yeah.
It's part of your plan.